Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, and welcome to the finale of the SRF Weekend Warriors presented by Race Voice here for Season 1 of 2023. Live from, back in the past, approximately about 2009 from Orland Park Raceway down under. I'm Austin. I'm joined by Jamie Fluke with Jonathan Grabowski in the production booth. And you're here live watching Apex Racing TV. It's the finale. It's from the lovely, the weird, the one and only Orland Park Raceway. Jamie, how are you looking forward to this track? Welcome to the broadcast. It's going to be a one season finale to remember.
It absolutely is. Yeah, this is going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is probably one of the few cars that this track really hosts exceptionally well. It's low powered. You can get moves done most places around here actually in this car. So yeah, this should be an absolute barnstormer.
And it's not a one-to-one easy street. Turn 1, especially around here at the sleeper into Coca-Cola Corner, has been notoriously difficult in past seasons of this car. But these drivers have masters turn 1 and 2 heading into there, and the rest of this car and the rest of the circuit just go together like peanut butter and jelly. But yeah, Orland Park is a very weird circuit. One of the few figure 8 circuits out there on iRacing service, and honestly, I can tell you the amount of figure 8 circuits on iRacing on just one hand. It's not a lot of them, and Orland Park is certainly one of my favorite circuits. It's very weird to have this as a favorite circuit, but it's just so quirky, and it just kind of has its own character.
It does indeed. Yeah, so it's figure 8 circuit. I mean, we've got Suzuka and do you want to throw Irwindale's figure 8 combo in there as well?
Well, technically it is a figure 8.
So yeah, we'll roll with that.
With and without the jump.
With and without the jump is right.
We'll be seeing that next week.
Yeah, looking forward to it. But what makes this track so special is, despite it being super short, it's got most types of corners. It's got elevation changes as well. You've got crests, you've got dips, you've got everything. You've got
off-camber corners, cambered corners.
And you got, at least in this car, just about long enough of a start-finish rate where you can get alongside and try and make moves. So yeah, it should be a fascinating encounter.
And speaking of fascinating, the pit entry of this course is very, very tricky. There's a little bit of a chicane, and it's right off the racing line too. So we're going to be seeing cars get right up onto that wall off the exit, just brushing against it, and then going right slamming onto the brakes and kind of having to thread the needle to enter the pit lane. And I think that might cause a little bit of a kerfuffle with another car following them.
I'm inclined to agree, and as well, it's a pretty slow pit lane as well in terms of your pit speed limit. So anything can and probably will happen, especially if cars are sort of diving in, one after the other. This may be hard to sight a
like
break
this, we just saw.
Yeah.
AC in the pits make it over street, and another car, AC in the pits, can get alongside each other, just catch a little bit of the grass, and then well, Coca-Cola Corner turns into Calamity Corner.
Yeah, it definitely does. That's a massive tank slapper there from Overstreet. Yeah, if you get offline around here, it's probably not a good time, especially as you say into Coca-Cola Curve. Yeah, very, very difficult to go side by side there without something horribly wrong happening.
Yeah, what I found easy for me to go was actually tap the brakes entering Coca-Cola Corner and then re-braking to get the car immediately slowing down and then slow it down again. It's not the fastest. I'm not a Spec 1 driver, but it's the safest to what I found.
Yeah, I think that makes sense for the majority of people with the curious tendencies of this car where it's so floaty and like occasionally snappy as soon as you come off throttle. A little bit of help through there, anything just to help stabilize the rear end just as you come through the left kink of turn 1 is most likely to help you.
It's kind of like a touring car in a way, where you kind of have to use the brakes to settle the car down or just encourage it to be like, you're okay. But it's a rear-wheel drive car, and oh, that's not the right line, and that's the wall.
Yeah, that's a big mistake there from Scally, just sort of overcommitting on the way in. And with this car, if you do sort of step out of line a little bit on the way in, it's quite difficult to save it. Now this the Gen 3 car is a lot more stable than the old Gen 2 car that I used to.
The old bathtub.
Yeah, the old bathtub back in the day, which I think actually still to this day, I've won more races in that car than I have any other car in the service. So it was an old favorite of mine for sure. But yeah, the new car is a little bit more compliant to drive, and yeah, hopefully we'll see some really good racing this evening.
Kind of wish Porsche Esports Series just use this.
I mean, I'd be pretty happy. I'm not sure if the rest of the field would be, but yeah, I'd be well up for it.
Disadvantage.
Anything that gets me a win, I'll be all for.
Well, that's good to know. But yeah, here with Spec Racer 4, this is the finale, so we do have some finale championships to go look at, and so let's bring up our championship standings right now. Entering our final round, as all of our drivers are in qualifying right now in the final few minutes. It's Marco Pinero with a solid grasp on that championship at top of 849 points ahead of Felix Simoes at 617. Third followed by Jason Green, Megan Overstreet, and Kane Lasky. The fight for second place is going to be the main fight, as well as the fight for fourth between Megan and Kane. They're separated just about by 30 points, under 30 points. And Jason and Felix are separated just by 15 points. So spots are up to grab. The only spot that is not up to grab is Marco Pinero's.
Yeah, it looks like he's got this pretty well covered. Yeah, fully deserved this season.
And this is the big one that we're going to be looking at. It's the Spec 2 championship points. 3 drivers in contention for the championship here today. Well, technically 3, not even 2. Technically 4. No, yeah, it is 3. Yeah, I'm going
It's 4.
It is 4. What about 5? Because Daniel Wood as well. So we got Keller, we got Wood, Gibson, Golden, Hansen, all separated just by about 30 points. And Spec 2. So the Spec 2 championship is going to be decided today. This is a fun race, so of course it is. But it's going to be a very impressive fight to see them. Devin Keller, I would say, would have the biggest advantage because he's the only one that has 7 races in there. Everybody else has had the 8-race drop week, so they're only going to have to improve on their points. Keller, he's going to have to earn his spot. He's going to have to earn all of his points here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And just sort of looking actually at qualifying stands at the minute, Keller, Hansen, and Gold are all, nose to tail, 14th through 16th at the minute. So if they come to blows, that could blow everything wide open.
It really could be, and I'm excited to see what happens here. And our final class of the day is our Masters Championship. It's a two-car fight between York Monty and Chris Murakami, like it has been throughout the entire season. 24 points separates them right now, and it's York Monty sitting on top of Chris Murakami right now. And they've been kind of swapping points and positions with each other with each round. One round's Murakami, next one is Monty, then it's Murakami, then Monty. They're followed by Tom Gradwell, Jim Brewster, and Adam Bradshaw, your top 5 points. And the battle for fourth could actually be decided here as well between Jim and Adam, as they're only separated just by 20-ish points. So it is a championship deciding day, and it is a lovely day to end out the championship here at Oran Park. And I do not believe that these guys have a traditional end of the season track, but as a finale track, how does Oran Park rank up there as a end of season track?
It's such an interesting track to end on. It's one of those like nitty gritty sort of tracks to finish on. It's not like a big wide expansive track. It's one where every position that you're looking to get for, you have to fight super hard for. Nothing's going to be gifted to you. So if you can make something happen and get the positions that you need for this finale, then you've really earned your championship result then at the end of it.
Yeah, I prefer a track where you have to earn your track and earn your position, and it's looking like you can do that here. And every position you got to earn it. Some drivers might not like it because it's a little bit too difficult, or it just gets under your skin. But I feel like that is going to be the best thing for this championship. But speaking of championship ending tracks, do you have a favorite championship ending track for any car?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, for me, it's got to be Interlagos, really. That is probably the best track to end nearly any championship at. So that's always been a favorite of mine. Traditionally, what I've raced in a season end, there's usually been at Monza, so that sort of falls in line with what I've done. Oran Park, it hasn't come up too many times as a finale track for me. But yeah, I would say Interlagos is probably a really good shot.
I was also going to say Interlagos as well. It was a traditional ending for Formula One for all the time, and then they moved to Abu Dhabi. But yeah, Interlagos is something about that track just screams championship ending, just finale. I don't know how a track can encompass a party atmosphere just by the track. You don't even have to have a crowd, but when you drive Interlagos, it feels like you're at a party.
You do. It always drives like with a really nice end of season vibe to it. Like everyone sort of gives it a fair go at the same time. So, and it's one of those tracks, even in a car like this, where so much can happen, but it's not totally crazy. It's not like we're racing like Monza combined or something ridiculous like that. So, it's probably like the right balance of you've got plenty of opportunity to overtake, you've got drama, you've got action, you've got side-by-side racing, but it's not a complete free-for-all, shall we say.
Yeah, it's not a complete free-for-all, but speaking of complete free-for-all, if you look at our timing screen, you're going to see this in qualifying right now, but the top 22 in our qualifying session as Megan Overstreet is demonstrating
where not to go,
where not to go, what not to do, and how penguins attempted to fly the first time. Luckily, we cut away from that because there is a crowd on the outskirts of that jump. Though I think we might be seeing that at the end of the race, but that's at the end. Spoiler alert. Might have to blur that. But here is qualifying and our final results as our drivers are all graded up. It's a short grid here, so we're going to have to speed this up. Marco Pinero is starting up on pole, followed by Paolo Ligori, Alex Pleva, Chris Murakami, York Monty, Jason Green, followed by Dudu Castro, Megan Overstreet, Antonio Rees, Simon Meyer, and Flavio Adala with Bradford Gold in 12th place. Remember, Bradford Gold's top of our Spec 2 championship, qualified on top of them. He's followed by Fabio Scali, Bobby West, Devin Keller, Todd Hansen, Joao Tubino and Eduardo Dantes. Yuji in 19th, followed by Luca Leone, Stephen Mitchell, Kurt Newens, and Adam Bradshaw, followed by Jim Brewster in 24th. Behind them, it's Chris Montgomery and Andrea Favini, Marco Trespidi, Ian Gibson, and Dan Wood, Jeff Jacobson, Charlie Vaccaro, Paul Jackson, Stevie Ray, Pedro Carvalho, and Caleb Pocock, and Gary Woodbolt at the end, 36th place. Final few spots is Alan McCain, Mark Sherman, Bob Kern, Jose Santiago, Trenton Kramer, and Jeff Horniak. At the end of our 42-car grid, our last 3 cars did not set a lap time, but most of our cars from pole to 39th within 3 seconds. But the first 22, like I said, all within 1 second of each other. I feel like we're going to have a party down under here today.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. That's a lot of cars in not an awful lot of time and not a lot of difference between them. So yeah, I expect it all to kick off in a spectacular way in the opening lap here.
Well, let's get them ready to rock and roll right now as they are rolling on that back stretch, heading out of the O'Brien aluminum dogleg and into Recaro corner, down that hill and up that hill into that banked or kind of banked, anti-banked left turn. It's a very difficult turn to get in at speed, but on a rolling start, it's going to be even more. There goes our Porsche safety car into the pits as we go green, green, green. Here to end out the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors here for Season 1, 2023 at Orient Park. It's Pinero leading out Flava diving out to the inside, immediately looking through the sweeper and heading into the Coca-Cola corner. Everybody's slamming onto the brakes right now, defending onto the inside. It's Marco Pinero.
No.
And in the background, we got cars getting into the grass as we got cars locking up and on the apex right there. But everybody else, they see that incident. The 2 cars getting back onto the track right now. Devin Keller, championship hopeful for the Spec 2s, is not going to be able, well, it's going to be an uphill fight for him today because he was looking to get all the points he needed to take the Spec 2 championship here today, but it's not going to happen as he's had an incident immediately heading through the sweeper and into Coca-Cola corner, and already that is the first incident at Coca-Cola corner and the sweeper, and it's already showing how difficult it is. Here's that entire rolling start from Devin Keller's perspective, and I think it's going to be pretty key to show on how bunched up it is, how difficult it is to see on how the sweeper is, and an onboard shot would be pretty cool, but there's a little bit of a slinky effect right now as you see the cars behind him bunching up right there, and he's just getting a run. He's going 3 wide immediately, which is sometimes not a good idea, but he's goes a little bit later on the brakes, goes around the outside. You can see the car already switching around, but look at the car on the outside, catching the grass and coming across the track. And Keller, well, unfortunately, was just an innocent bystander and all that. And you can tell he's probably not feeling so well after that. Back to live pictures. It's Marco Pinero and Paulo Logori and Alex Plava, your top 3. We did have a little bit of an issue, as well as I think Bradford Gold and Todd Hansen has had an issue.
Yeah, a bit of a hectic start there, and that's gotten for Kelleher. He didn't really do anything wrong there. He was aggressive but positive, and yeah, it all stacked up on the outside, came across, and yeah, not so good. We've got a replay with Hansen here.
Also championship hopeful as well for Spec 2. This is through the aluminum dogleg and into Recaro corner. And ooh,
just overcommitted on the way in.
Yeah, just a little bit too much mustard on there. And there's the 32 just getting caught up in there. And oh, that is...
Yeah, it's a band with Dantas. Yeah, not much you can do there. Oh, it's a little suspect with the rejoin there, but yeah, we're able to live to fight another day. But that's again, yeah, really disappointing for Hansen there with his S2 championship hopes.
Everyone is still running around, but no race-ending damage, but very race-ending incidents right now. So we're looking at Dudu Castro chasing down Jason Green under pressure from Megan Overstreet as well. Let's right on board of the 73. Chasing down Jason Green, getting a little bit wide out of shell corner and into Champion Curve. And the Champion Curve is so weird because it's got a rise and then a dip and then a rise off the exit again. If you try to take that corner like a regular corner, you're going around like a top.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in this car as well, where your weight transfer is so important to manage. Like you need to be really, really careful getting onto and off the brake in this thing around here, and that's what makes this track such a a huge challenge for the drivers out there.
And in the background, I believe that is Steven Mitchell going slow through Foster's dip.
Yeah, he's went wide somewhere. I'm not sure whether contact has instigated that, but he's got it back going again, and that's the important thing. Got a replay coming up of that now. Let's take a look at what's happened.
I think there's just a little bit of overcommitment heading into Foster's dip, carrying a little bit too much speed. A few of the cars that could take it without having to tap the brakes, and he just got on the brakes just a little bit too late right there, kicked the car sideways. He's able to save it though, but while we were looking at that, we have a move for the lead. Paulo Gori is now our overall leader ahead of Marco Pinheiro.
Yeah, it's a big surprise there actually. Pinheiro was very strong in qualifying and has dominated the championship this season, but Gori looks like he's just bided his time and picked off Pinheiro, and he's got a little bit of a gap. Yeah, let's take a look and see what's happened here.
No, yeah, I think this is heading into the sweeper. This is Ricard corner right now, and
final corner, just
Pinheiro
ran
goes
wide.
deep.
Wow, it's a big surprise there. Yeah, big mistake to run it wide. Done well to keep it out of the wall, but yeah, huge surprise to see him run wide there.
That's
at
the
that
line
moment, he wasn't under pressure either.
That's the line you might see if somebody has a slowdown penalty.
Possibly, but I don't think he. I think he just outbroke himself, sort of looking at that on the way in. If he was suffering with a slowdown penalty, maybe he would have arced it out even wider to try and cut back and maximize his run then down the straight.
It might be a slowdown penalty. It might be a mistake. I'm going to have to go on a slowdown penalty just off of experience because I have done this. It's so easy to get a slowdown penalty through turns 10 and 11. If you cut 11 very tightly, you can definitely get a slowdown penalty. And this is another issue from Bradford Gold. And this is through Momo corner. And just goes a little bit deep, catches the gravel, and goes for a little bit of a trip.
Yeah, that's not went well, but he's done pretty well actually in stopping the car from spinning around, although he has towed back to pits. So that's another of the S2 championship hopefuls.
Yeah, I feel like he's
out of it.
I feel like he's taking his championship and walked home and shipping it in the mail. He's done. We'll see him next season.
Yeah, that's a huge shame, but yeah, he's put up a really good fight this season.
Now, as we're looking at our leaders heading down the front straightaway, you might notice a new-looking car in 4th place. It's not a new driver. It's Jorg Mani, as he said last week. That was the last week for the famous Red Lobster machine, and you can see the new and improved Jorg Mani. I'm not sure what this is. It looks like a lion.
I'm not sure.
I think there's a puma on the side of it, maybe a cheetah, and there's and then there's the Swiss flag, Swiss cross on the front nose of it.
It's certainly distinctive. I'll give him that.
I think I think that's a tiger on the side.
I think so as well. Yeah. But whatever the reason for delivery change, he's running up in 4th place overall, and he's leading the Masters as well, which is obviously excellent for his chances to try and wrap up this championship. So yeah, so far so good for Jorg.
Our running theory was big slide for Antonio Reese in the 914.
That's well held. That I thought he was snapping that right hand down right into the wall, but he got it gathered up, and yeah, he lives to fight another day. He's got Simon Meyer behind him, putting him under pressure now coming into Coca-Cola corner. But he's got it all gathered up, seems under control again, and yeah, he hangs on to 8th place overall.
Yeah. The running joke between everybody and Jorg Mani on why the Red Lobster was he owned a Red Lobster franchise.
Ah, excellent. Okay, yeah. So
that's unconfirmed though. We just assumed it was.
Okay, so are we implying now that he is now the Swiss Tiger King?
Yep. Yes.
Just throwing it out there as a suggestion maybe for you guys.
I believe we are in flight. We are looking at Chris Murakami chasing out Fabio Scali up ahead. He's under pressure by Jiri, who has just joined the series last week as we went to Mount Panorama. But this is our Spec 2 leader of Scali up ahead of Chris Murakami. Murakami in that draft, getting a better run out of Ricardo corner. He's looking down the inside, and yeah, here we go. We're going to go side by side across the line. He's up along the inside line. Watch out. Listen to your spotter right here, buddy, or else it's going to get a little bit nasty. Scali getting onto the brakes a little bit early, letting Chris Murakami dive down to the inside and up into 14th place. And Scali goes deep into Coca-Cola corner.
Yeah,
and
two for one there on that one, and Yuri Vazluzil takes the lead in S2. And now back to the lead.
In the lead of Spec 2, and now Marco Pinero in the lead of Spec 1 and overall the race. And here is what happened to Marco Pinero and how he got that move. And I feel like it's going to be very similar to what we saw with Jiri. And big snap oversteer. And Pinero, he saw his opportunity and he went for that opportunity and he got that opportunity. And he is now in the lead from that opportunity.
Yep, and he only needs one opportunity in this thing to get it done and take the lead. Gory was sort of leading fairly comfortably for a little while there. I've got a car in pit lane there. I'm not sure who that is, but
Daniel Wood.
Daniel Wood, thank you. But yeah, Pinero obviously been the dominant driver this season. You do not get him a sniff at the lead, otherwise he will absolutely take it.
Yeah, you know, when opportunity comes to knocking, he's going to open up that door.
And he certainly did open up that door. He also did give Paul plenty of room on the outside.
Yeah, he was very fair with that overtake. He wasn't trying to force anything and try to do anything very dangerous when going for that overtake, like braking extremely hard and getting the back end kicked out in a very tight corner on fresh tires. Totally not salty on a current race going on.
Certainly not. Looks like Simon Myers got ahead of Antonio Rice. Big angle of cars here. I guess they had some side-by-side action just to bunch everyone up together. Right on board now with Yao Tubino. Going for a bit of a cutback there and getting a run now down the straight. So let's see if we get some action here into turns 1 and 2.
Now, Antonio Reese and Simon Meyer, they both had a little bit of a wiggle throughout that corner. And here we go. Tubino down to the inside. They're going to be, that was tight for Tubino entering the sweeper and into Coca-Cola corner. But Tubino jumping up into 9th place and now chasing down Simon Meyer. But also, you got to watch out for Idalo and Bobby West behind them as well, because Antonio Reese is going to have he's got a locked and loaded gun right behind him, because these two are going to go after this corner. And let's right on board of Bobby West and see all the action up ahead. And yeah, there goes Tubino down to the inside. I think that's a slow down penalty.
Yeah, it might very well be.
Meyer going slow. Everybody diving down to the inside. There goes Reese down to the inside, getting past Meyer. Meyer is slow in the dip. Bobby West sees all this happening and just has to pick and choose where he needs to go. But at this point, it's kind of just like follow the leader. Everybody just has to wait their turn and go through it. But Simon Meyer says, all right, I served my penalty. I'm going to go back to full-on racing right now. But, oh, watch out. Meyer almost getting tapped to the back from Adalo. And there goes Bobby West down to the inside and up into 11th place. With Adalo with that wider line is going to be trying to regain that spot back now with that speed. You see Bobby West giving you a little bit of a wiggle, trying to test out suspension. I think he might have tapped the wall right there.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that he has. It looks like it's tracking straight, so that's the important thing. We've got Kelleher now trying to work his way back through after his sort of disaster of a start here. Down only 9 spots now after his lap 1 excursion, so he's certainly tracking his way through. And up the inside of the 917 of Steve Mitchell, who lets him have it. Oh, spinner ahead. That was
spinner ahead. I am
Pocock, I think.
Yes, it was Pocock, and yeah, Pocock, not the best day for him. And that day has gone downhill as Devin Keller under pressure by Steven Mitchell. Mitchell looking down to the inside, backing out of that corner through champion curve and up through Yokohama Bridge. The tightest part of the track, Yokohama Bridge, and also the most dangerous part of the track because it's so easy to have a little bit of a hit right there. And one thing I love about Orland Park, it has one of the tightest track layouts in all of iRacing. It's got about 3 different go-kart-ish tracks in that little south loop underneath the bridge.
Yeah, they're all hilarious to drive in an LMP1, I'll tell you that much for free.
I kind of want to see that replay, but I don't think we'll be seeing that track guide on Apex Racing Academy.
Somehow it's highly unlikely. Currently on screen though, we've got Antonio Reyes back in 8th position again, holding off Yao Turbino, who's up 8 spots from where he started. So he's probably not qualified probably as well as he probably should have, but he's currently working his way forward. And yeah, this is a solid scrap and a solid gaggle here for 8th position.
Yeah, Turbino, we've been seeing the moves that he's been making and the pressure he's been putting on Reese. Reese leaving the door open on the entry and kind of drifting through that corner. So Turbino is going to be in the best spot that he can be. He is right on that bumper, right on that gearbox. Crash in the back. Murakami involved.
Oh no, that's a lot of damage. Yeah, these guys are going to have to bring it down pit lane. Murakami,
yeah, Chris Murakami.
Stuck there. No, he's good.
He's got back, but now he's got to track that car across the line and across the track to get into the pits, and he does get there. But what is happening here between these two and between everybody else? I feel like this is 2 separate incidents. Yeah, Murakami arrives on the scene already spinning and sliding, and then bang!
Oh no!
And there's 2 for dinner right there. Fabio Scali, Chris Murakami, and Adam Bradshaw involved right there. And those 3 cars into the pits, and a lot of damage to be buffed out right there.
Yeah, that's a huge shame. He's running really well there, and you know, fighting back after a bit of a rough start. I think at one point he was down 11 spots in 15th and was picking his way back through. But it shows how easy it is to make a mistake in this car. If you slightly overcommit on entry, the back end will step out, and there's not an awful lot you can do about it. And unfortunately for the cars behind, there was not an awful lot they could do either.
Yeah, when you have a crash by that wall, it's a blind corner. You're going to get the yellow flag, say slow car ahead, if you have that enabled on your preferred iRacing spotter program, or just the iRacing spotter. But the time is, it's a blind chance that you're going to be either A, running alongside that car that's crashed, or B, running straight into them. And if it's a car that's already sideways around that final corner, you're at speed, it's not going to end well.
It's definitely not, and bear in mind as well, the Spec Racing Ford, it is, you know, a nice, nimble enough car, but it's not like an F1 car in terms of its agility. So it's hard to deviate from the line that you've already picked to go through a corner. So if something nasty happens up ahead, it's not the easiest car in the world to try and maneuver around something that happens ahead. So yeah, massive shame for those guys getting caught up in Murakami's spin there.
Yeah, it's not a raid. It's not a Ray F1600. Coming to iRacing next week.
It is indeed. Yeah, looking forward to see how that shakes up.
And this is Keller in 2nd place of Spec 2, actually passing Spec 2 champion leader Ian Gibson, who now falls down to 3rd in class and under pressure by the 40 of Jeff Jacobson, who, well,
comes into the pit.
Decides to take my pressure and throw it into the pit lane.
Well, yeah. It's a shame that we didn't get to see that battle commence any further, but we're firmly into the pit stop cycle now. Pit lane opens after 10 minutes. Well, yeah, but there's been guys who've been trundling down pit lane over the last sort of, 6 or 7 minutes or so. So I'd say we're reasonably well into it. But I reckon, for the guys up front or the guys looking to absolutely maximize their race result here, they'll probably stretch it out a little bit longer here.
I feel like we are going to be seeing cars stretch it out as far as they can, because this has been a very late pit entry that we're seeing from all the drivers. Usually we see a few drivers tend to favor pitting early, especially last round. Megan Overstreet, she's diving up onto the inside of JC Green and jumps up into 6th place. Beautiful move by her. And a little bit of a slide off the exit, but able to keep that car all locked down and chase down of York Bonnie, our Masters leader and current champion-elect right now, if he stays ahead of Antonio Rees.
Certainly is. Just back on the pit strategy here.
Actually, no. Chris Murakami is the champion that he needs to be beating, and he is. Chris is currently down in 30th.
Yeah, Murakami. But he's also, taking a stop now, and if he can get some clean air, maybe he can actually make up some ground here. So not all is lost for Murakami. But yeah, as I was saying before, it's not the easiest track in the world to overtake at. So maybe some guys are considering, the early pit stop, get into a bit of clean air or get into a little bit more space, put down some absolute haters, and then get stuck into maybe an undercut if that's the strategy that they're looking to go for.
And I feel like that is the best idea. Try to go for that undercut. Think big brain. But the thing is, this track is pretty small. I feel like that you're going to be betting on trying to find an open track and somewhere to go to, as Dudu Castro, he's starting to blink on our timing tower. So might be worried just a little bit about that, but he's continuing on right now. And that brings on the iRacing mechanical failure of iRacing. We don't have engine failures as, oh, hello, that is Murakami going slow as our leaders are lapping them.
Yeah, just to go further with your point, yeah, you are right. It is such a small track. Lap traffic is going to be actually a bit of an issue here, for our front runners. So again, that could shake things up completely. It might be lap traffic that could decide, the outcome of this race, and might determine some championship results as well.
You mean lap traffic like this?
Exactly like this, yes.
As this is Marco Pinero on the back of the 40 of Jeff Jacobson, heading into the sweeper, diving up onto the inside. Watch for Paulo Ligori right here. Gori going a little bit deep. They're both holding down that inside line. Jacobson on the outside. There's Stevie Ray on the inside. Hello, Stevie. I never got to mention you on a rolling start today. Going to go back to racing very soon. But this is really stacked up the field.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's interesting to see if anyone actually dives down pit lane now to try and get that stop done whilst they're stuck behind. I believe that's Adam Bradshaw in 99. Sort of not completely backing out of it, not completely giving the leaders the right of way here. He is holding to the right-hand side here, and yeah, the guys are going to dive to his inside now. Yeah, he is being predictable, which is all that you could ever ask of anyone who is being lapped.
Yeah. It's always be predictable. Maybe go, tap the brakes a few times, but with
only
these
if nobody
drivers,
is ahead or behind.
Yeah, if nobody is ahead or behind, maybe tap the brakes. And you can see there is a line of people behind, and if you slam all the brakes in front of this group, you're going to cause a few people to, stop thinking with the brakes and start thinking with their
right
adrenaline. The adrenaline, right foot instincts.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I know some people, when they start feeling driving around with their instincts, it turns into a killer instinct.
Yeah, I've seen some issues over many years now in sim racing, and I never fully got it. It is just a race at the end of the day. It's not life or death, but yeah, some people do get a bit hot-headed under the helmet. So yeah, hopefully we don't see any of that in the series. Historically, from my time in the series, never really seen any of that. Everyone races super fair and super clean here, and hope that continues.
Yeah, Megan Overstreet, she makes that move on your Monty right there. Was in that trot. Was very easy about it with that overtake as everybody is still trying to just filter through. Little bit of a lockup up ahead, but those two lapped cars just with that train behind them. Let's ride on board of the Swiss Tiger King of George Bonnie.
I hope that sticks. I really do.
Hey, it's already sticking. It's already there. We went from Red Lobster to Swiss Tiger King, so I hope that just becomes it. He puts out the back of his car, or just on the hood of his car, because it just works.
We've got to put personalities to the names and faces here, so the Swiss Tiger King, it must be from here on.
Hopefully, makes his helmet like it's a tiger.
Yeah, hopefully.
Even though I know the iRacing helmet is a little bit tricky to work with.
It definitely can be. But yeah, he let Megan through there probably quite easily, actually. But I guess he knows that Murakami is, well down the order now, and the championship is probably now in his hands, providing that nothing silly happens. So he probably isn't taking too many risks. If anyone is going for the overtake, let them go. He's probably got some points to play with. I'm not 100% sure of the exact points, structure in terms of top to bottom, but he's got 18 places on Chris, and it was very, very tight going into this. So he looks in really good shape here.
He knows where Murakami is, because if you look 2 cars ahead of him, there's Chris Murakami right there, not on the same lap. No, if he has his relative up right now, he can see Chris Murakami's name in blue.
He will indeed, but he'll also probably know that Murakami has already stopped. So he's not, on merit almost a lap down. This will shake out a little bit differently over the remaining 14 minutes and 15 seconds. So yeah, remains to be seen how that championship plays out.
Yeah, it still needs to be seen on how long it takes for a driver to go into the pit lane. Horniak hops into the pits right now. The average time I'm seeing for drivers to head into the pit lane, Paul Jackson is our current net pit lane leader, has spent 45 seconds from start to finish in that pit lane. And here comes Jiri, our Spec 2 leader, to be the lone Spec 2 driver into this very antagonizing slow pit lane here. And the earlier you qualify, the earlier you are into this downhill sloped pit lane.
Yeah, and the tricky bit about that is it's very easy, to overshoot your pit box and lose a couple of seconds right off the bat. This car probably isn't the quickest thing to get slammed back into reverse to get back into your stall. It does, but it's probably not like super rapid fire to get the car shifted from first or second gear, maybe for rolling into the box in second, all the way back into reverse. So, it's super important for the drivers here as they come into pit lane to just exercise a little bit of caution, getting the car pulled up.
Yeah, caution is always the word for the wise. Just have a little bit of caution, race with caution, drive with caution, especially around here, because this track does not pull any punches. It is how all tracks should be. The edge of the track is covered in grass and no runoff.
Yeah, big fan of that as
Except
well.
for right here.
Well, I mean, you've still got grass and then a little bit of extra tarmac, so that's fine. As long as there's grass or some deterrent beyond curb and white line, then it's absolutely fine. Masses of runoff is not my thing.
It's kind of like my proposal to just have 1 meter strip of grass on the edge of every track in the world. Then you can have all the tarmac runoff that you can. Just have that 1 meter strip of grass, and that would solve most of our problems.
Preaching to the choir on this one, Austin. I've been calling for that forever as well. So yeah, I'll be all for that. Or even just like a bit of gravel as well. Like that's a deterrent enough as well. A 1 meter strip of gravel. And no.
Murakami another issue.
Oh dear, that's not going well.
That's out of crucial corner as well. That's out of Momo corner.
Yeah, we'll just take a quick look at the replay here and see what's happened. So he's coming over the bridge through the right-hander. And all looks settled here, so it is into Foster's dip where this is going on. Oh, the back end stepped out on entry again. Oh, a huge bump there as well off the racing surface. He does manage to keep it pointing broadly in the right direction, but that's a lot of...
Too hot.
No.
Watch out.
That
He
is...
found reverse, so we know how fast you can get into reverse right there.
Okay, that's not too bad, but he has absolutely got away with one there. That was...
Yes, he did. That car...
That was not good.
That car could have, in about 3 other universes, is not existing.
Yeah, thankfully, as soon as he touched tarmac, the car pulled up. There's no guarantee of that. That is Alex Pleva in the 49. Best car number in the world, I must say.
Biased.
Just gone wide there, but still hanging on to 4th position. I believe Dudu Castro has actually just overtaken him for
yes, he
3rd.
has.
So, going to get a replay of that.
This is the beginning of last lap at Coca-Cola Corner, and Sweeper just a little bit wide as Castro alongside getting a better run. I feel like he was just given the spot.
Yeah, I think he realized that he was probably still slightly out of shape, and instead of fighting excessively hard, settle in line, maybe cool his tires off a little bit and let the fight another day.
Yeah, I find these small tires are very susceptible to tire heat and tire wears. Bobby West heads into the pits, as well as Luca Leone. These two are heading to the pits, and there comes Luca, and there goes Bobby.
Yeah, and both those cars look like they got pulled up nicely into their stalls, so yeah, no issues and no dramas there. They'll be able to get out and going very, very shortly.
Luca is the fastest pit stop of all drivers, of current stopped time of 9.25 seconds. As
yeah.
Here is Marco Pinero and Gori, both of them continue on another lap across the line. As you can see, our class leaders, it's Marco Pinero, York Monty, and Kelleher in Spec 2. And remember what happened to Kelleher at the start of this race. Fell down from the top of the field to nearly last place in turn 1 to bring that up to 14th place overall. They have not gone into the pits yet. Remember that. But they are currently your class leader, as our Masters class leader, York Monty, the Swiss Tiger King himself, pulls it into the pit lane at an angle.
Love to see the angle. He'll have a straight run out. Here's Kelleher into his, into pit lane, and hopefully then nicely into the stall. Be really interesting to see where he comes out relative to the other S2 drivers that he'll be competing against.
Now, when you see a driver angle the car in the pit lane, that's to maximize the exit. And you'll see this in other motorsports too, like Formula 1. Do you know which team was the one that was doing it the most, of angling cars pointed towards the pit lane first?
That's a great question. I do not remember. I remember it like starting to happen 3 or 4 years ago, but I'm not sure.
Red Bull.
It was, of course it was Red Bull.
And look at this party in the pit lane. This is Pinero, Gori, Pleva, Overstreet, Dabino, and Race. Pretty much the top 6 all just followed the leader into the pit lane. And I think for Antonio Reese, if we could watch that replay, he might have had to just wait a little bit, be a little bit patient heading into the pits, as everybody is getting their stop on. As you can see, Pleva using the Red Bullish tactic. And I also believe McLaren was a early adopter of the tilted pit entry, or tilted pit exit. As deep into the brakes goes Gori as Marco Pinero. Look at that gap he has to the rest of the field. There is Gori about 8/10, and then it's 5 seconds to Alex Pleva. Look at the pit times. Gori, 9.2 seconds. Yeah, there is a car on the wall. I believe that is Jose Santiago.
Yeah, it's not going well for Jose there. But yeah, really interesting how the pit cycles went. Pinero has, I would say, stretched out a gap, but 0.7 of a second isn't a lot. That's about as much as the gap has been between these two drivers pretty much all race. We've got our final bunch of drivers coming in for their mandatory pit stop here.
Son Meyer actually staying out for another
He
lap.
has.
As Castro's taking tires.
Fascinating. Does he need to take tires?
No, no, he's not.
Oh, no.
But everybody's taking tires as well. Look at Dalo taking tires, fronts and rears for Castro, and Dalo only took fronts. I think due to Castro, he's out of his car. Castro's out of his car.
I can't believe what I've just seen here. He's running so well up in base. I think he was net third before everything shook out here. Yeah, that's a big mistake to take tires, I think, at this point.
I think he was looking at his fuel too much, that he forgot to uncheck tires. And when he saw that happen, he just throw his hands in the air and just be like, well, that's it. And I feel like due to Castro is out of this race, and this is the equivalent of finding out that you got an electrical problem in the pit lane.
Yeah, cardinal sin. Got to make sure that you've got your stop ready to roll before you come into pit lane. So yeah, it's really unfortunate for him, but can only have himself to blame on that one.
I'll tell you what, pit stops for fuel are going to be a lot easier next season with the auto fuel function coming to iRacing as well. And the cool thing that I learned about this auto fuel function is you have a room for error that you can program into it. So it's like, go for maybe a lap shorter, under fuel it, how much, what you want to over fuel it. It's got that kind of room for error that built into it. So it's a risk in there. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that works. And contact entering the pit lane.
Oh, we've been looking at this pretty much, from the start of the race. Would anyone get caught out with this pit entry? And they certainly have here. That's not going well.
I believe Gibson was slowing down to enter the pit lane and was just hit by the car behind him. We're going to flying it over to our chopper cam and see what happens right here to Ian Gibson entering the pit lane. Takes out line, and there's the 079. Well, he's a long way. Oh, no.
Oh, he's got hit. Oh, no.
Well,
oh, dear.
I'm going to be honest. That might not only be damage into the wall, that will be speeding into the pit lane penalty.
He's got out and going, though, in reasonable time. So maybe not. Maybe he has got away with it. And obviously he can take the fast repair.
He was only stopped for 6 seconds, though.
He also doesn't need that much fuel to make it to the end of the race here.
This is true.
That's probably contributed to a lot of it. So yeah, definitely not part of the plan, but I think he's got away with it.
I hope that does not become a thing of pit lane slingshots.
I hope not either. I hope that's not like a new meta that'll kick in for Sebring when we come to the next big endurance race upcoming on iRacing.
Yeah, hopefully it's not. If it is, you'll see some esports teams starting with W try it out first.
I can assure you it's not part of our plans at Apex.
But you don't start with the W, so you're fine.
All good.
Marco Pinero leading out Polo Ligori, the two Italians on top of the leaderboard right now, just separated by 4/10 between each other, as they got less than 3 minutes remaining here at Oran Park and the Spec Racer for the Weekend Warriors Championship of Season 1 2023 before we head into 2023 Season 2, or as I like to call spring season, as Lap's car getting out of the way of our two leaders. Lap difference between these two, the times are nearly identical. One lap, one of the drivers will be faster, the other lap, the other one will be faster. And it's just a give and take, push and shove track between these two.
Certainly is. Gory, though, has brought the gap down since the pit stop. In the 4 or 5 laps or so, he has taken that from 7, 8 tenths down to 3 tenths or 4 tenths now. So this could still all be to play for.
Heading into our final corner right now. Less than 1 minute, 30 seconds remain. Pinero getting up against the wall. This will be 2 laps to go across the line with about 10 seconds remaining. Will out of next time by. So yeah, 2 laps to go unless there is a incident between these two. Heading into the sweeper, Pinero going a lot deeper than Gory entering that corner. Gory wanted to break a lot earlier and chase down Marco Pinero.
He has, but I think he's slightly overdone it and costing himself some time and some ground here. He's right up his gearbox there coming into turn 1 and 2. And I tried to set up the exit, and I think he's got that slightly wrong and has let Pinero slightly off the hook here.
Yeah, Pinero extending that gap by 0.2 to 0.6 up ahead. They fly through Foster's dip. They do have a lap car up ahead. We got Antonio Reese pointed the other way around on the other side of the Yokohama Bridge. And Reese, out of the Masters lead, has fallen down to 4th place, giving the lead back to York Monty. And
yeah,
here's what happened at Coca-Cola Corner. Now I feel like this is just a case of he's hit the curb, and then he hits the curb on the outside, hits the grass, and bang! Into the tire barrier.
Yeah, looks like he might have caught a little bit of the dirt on the outside as well. I don't know if he's got that running again.
He is driving slowly. But it's white flag this time by for Pinero and Gory, and they got 2 lads cars up ahead of them. Traffic at Shell Corner on the outside. Gory's exit is a little bit compromised by there. Then it's Chris Murakami up ahead, Blue Champions curve. They fly through that corner. Pinero using all the track. Gory right on that bumper right now. It's going to be a drag race at the line. Gory needs to get as close as he can. I would say about 0.2 is where you want to be at the line, and he's currently 0.3 away from that goal, and he's currently wishing that Murakami would have a little bit of a mistake right ahead of Pinero, as Pinero only has 3 corners left, and it's the O'Brien aluminum dogleg right now, using all the track, getting 2 wheels through that inside line, and one last time through Recaro Corner, and it's going to be Marco Pinero taking the final win this season of the Spec Racer Ford Wicked Warriors here at Oran Park.
Yeah, super job from Marco. He's held on brilliantly, absorbed a ton of pressure from Paulo Gory, and yeah, he picks up the big win in the finale here.
Yeah, fantastic win right there. And there is Flavio Andalo finishing in 9th place. And it behind them in the background, it's the Swiss Tiger King of York Monty winning the Masters Championship, coming across the line in 10th place. And there is Jiri in 11th, taking the Spec 2 race win, but the Spec 2 race championship, I can't believe we are saying this, but I believe it's Devin Kelleher.
Yeah, he had the absolute shocker at the start of the race, sorry, and yeah, kept his nose clean, worked his way forward from there, and yeah, looks like he's got a well-deserved championship.
Wow, 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 wow. If there is any better lesson of never giving up after a lap 1 incident, it's certainly that one. Keller, after starting in 15th, falls all the way down to last place at the first corner after a mistake by another driver, gets caught up in that incident, powered his way up through the field to take the Spec 2 championship. Here are your full results. Marco Pinero takes the win ahead of Paulo Gory. I think Gory got slowed down at the end of that race because that gap was not that entering that final corner. It's Alex Pleva finishing in 3rd. Megan Overstreet, she finishes out in 4th place. Jason Green in 5th, and Yao Tubino in 6th. Bobby West, Simon Meyer, and Flavio Andalo in 9th. York Bonnie wins the Masters Championship in 10th place. Jiri in 11th takes the Spec 2 race win. Luca Leone is followed by Jim Brewster. Kurt Nuez, Devin Kelleher winning the Spec 2 championship down in 15th place. Eduardo Dantes, Andrea Favini, and Jeff Jacobson in 18th place. Behind them, it's Adam Bradshaw, Stevie Ray, Chris Murakami, Ian Gibson, Stephen Mitchell, Paul Jackson, Pedro Cavallo, Caleb Pocock, and Kramer, Gary Woodbull in 28th place. This is always the hardest part because it's just chaos behind me. Dan Wood, Antonio Reese, Mark Sherman, Dudu Castro, Jeff Horniak, Jose Santiago, Fabiola Scali, Marco Trespidi, Todd Hansen, Alan McCain, and Rob Kerr, Bradford Gold, Charlie Vaccaro, and Chris Montgomery in 42nd at the end of our 42-car grid. As it is time to take these cars down demo lane and end out the season with a bang.
Yeah, this looks like a lot of fun. I remember doing this back in the day as well. You just keep sending it until the car will not go any further, and guys, girls putting on a hell of a show here. Oh, that's a big.
That's a big one, and that's a big airtime right there. Well, as we are enjoying this show out on track, let's bring in one driver or a few drivers into our interview room. And well, he earned a new nickname today because he was running a new paint scheme today. Ladies and gentlemen, the Swiss Tiger King himself, Jorg Vani.
Good evening.
Good evening. How was that race? And you want to talk about your new livery?
I think we should rather talk about my new livery than my race, but the race was very interesting. Just broke my shifter before the race, so I had to switch to my sequential shifter, home built, and I never drove that shifter since a year, so it was quite interesting, but all good, was fun.
While driving on a rig made up of duct tape and spare bolts found around the house, I think the Swiss Tiger King that we are calling you right now, because this is what we can make out of your new livery. What was the inspiration for this livery from the Red Lobster?
I gave Antonio actually free hand because I wanted to have something brand new, because the Red Lobster I got downloaded from Trading Paints actually. And soon after me, some people started to use that paint as well, and I thought, I want to have a paint on my own. So I asked Antonio if he could do me a favor and create one, and he did. And he was discussing with my friends online on the chat forum, and they gave some comments about me, you know, how I am, what I do, etc., etc., and that livery came up.
Well, I think you can thank Jamie for your new nickname of being the Swiss Tiger King.
I'm going to thank him the next time I see him on track, if I ever seen him on track.
Oh. Well, Jamie, do you have anything to say about that? Getting called out in the booth.
I'm getting called out. I've been out of this car for many years now, but if I do return at some point, then yeah, let's have it.
Okay, that's going to be fun. I have to fix my pedal shifter first before I do that.
All right, words to look forward to in the future seasons of the Spec Racer Forward Weekend Warriors here on Apex Racing TV. Jorg, before we let you go and enjoy being yourself as a Swiss Tiger King, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, actually, all the drivers. They're so very nice, the most of them. I'm just calling most of them. You can't like everybody, so yeah, I'll be honest. But of course, Raceful Voice for our sponsorship, and of course you guys doing always an amazing job for commenting our races. We all are actually listening to you guys one more time after the race most of the times. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to do that all the year, all the season long. That's great. Thanks a lot, guys, for your job and for your work you did.
Well, thank you, Jorg, and we hope you have a great rest of your day. And congrats on the class win, and I believe the Masters Championship as well.
I think so. Like I said many times, I'm driving for fun. If I win, it's okay. If I'm not winning and I'm still having fun, I'm still having fun.
Well, smile on the face is definitely being had by the Swiss Tiger King. Jamie, we have a whole plethora of drivers to pick from, but there is one driver that we always should talk to, and that is the one, the only. He makes everything happen around here. Joining Jamie Fluke right now, it's the one, the only Stevie Ray.
What a welcome, Austin. Thanks, sir. Good to be here, and good to see you again, Jamie.
Yeah, it's good to be back interacting with the series again. It's been quite a few years, but yeah, another season, another successful season of this wonderful series. Yeah, sum it up for me, Stevie. How do you think it's all went?
We had another great season. Once again, S1, the Spec 1 class kind of got dominated. The Masters, Monty pretty much dominated that one and left the other 2 podium steps up for grab. But the Spec 2, it's going to be interesting to see how the points shake out on that. That one came down to the end. So you can't ask for more. It's a great league. The people on track every week, they hear it over and over from me, but they're the ones that make it. So I couldn't be happier.
Excellent. Love to hear it. As for your own drive, Stevie, it's not something that you ever seemed super keen to talk about, but yeah, I think the last time that we spoke and interacted, it was the Gen 2 car that we loved so much. So,
yeah,
what's your thoughts of the Gen 3 and how it drives and how you've got to grips with it?
I like it. It's more realistic, so that's what I like. My passion is kind of having the 2 worlds of sim racing and real world meet in the middle somewhere. So I'm really glad it's more representative of the real thing. So the guys out there with SCCA and stuff can use it as a training tool. That was my drive for it. Obviously, I'm not as good in it as I was the Gen 2, but and I'm getting older too, so that kind of adds into the Formula thing. But yeah, today I wanted to bring it home, and that's pretty much what I did.
Yeah, it looks like you had a really good day. Any last words before we let you go, Stevie?